G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest game in the world, rugby. And this is Super Rugby Review, Crusaders versus the Melbourne Rebels. Anzac round, boy, this was brutal. The Crusaders has refound that physicality up front with their 4-pack. This game, something that they have pretty much trademarked as their go-to dominance, their go-to game plan. They have rediscovered that this game against the Melbourne Rebels, and this was very, very difficult to watch for the Rebels fans. The set piece was absolutely one-sided to the Crusaders. The scrummaging was just running away. Like, the Crusaders were literally just running forward with the scrummaging for like the first 30 minutes against the Rebels. Was penalty after penalty after penalty. And then the Rebels had to adjust, bringing on the big gun, Tanela Tupou, and the entire bench front row came on at 30 minutes into the game to stabilize the situation. And what was really important for the Crusaders is that they were able to adjust. Yeah, George Bell in the second half was able to actually get penalties from Tanela Tupou, getting underneath him, adjusting his body position, and just really starting to work out what how to go about against Tupou, and was able to get himself back in front, back into the penalty circles in the second half, before he came off the field. It was just so impressive. That is the hallmark of great front rowers. Not just being able to push really hard, but to be able to adjust to your opposition and getting yourself back in front. That is that is the race in the front row, and George Bell really showed that. In the first half, Fletcher Newell was absolutely demolishing the Rebels loose head, but in the second half, beating Tanela Tupou, George Bell was just super impressive there for him. And also the return of Scotty Barrett really just added that little more leadership on the field. I think that's something that the Crusaders really was missing in the last few rounds now. In fact, ever since Scotty was injured, really everybody was looking at each other like who's going to do anything. With Scotty back on the field, you can see that the Crusaders had a clear vision of what they wanted to do on the field. And not to mention that Scotty's line-out, it was like watching an adult playing line-out against children at times. Like, he already knew where the ball was going to go and just waiting for the ball to be stolen. It was that brutal at times with Scotty back. And also he added that extra pressure from the scrummaging as well. And just really incredible turnaround for the Crusaders side. This was almost a test level performance from the Crusaders. And if you look at unlike previous weeks, there was silly penalties, silly turnovers, silly knock-ons, and all of that was written out of the game. This one for the Crusaders, it was, pretty much, bulletproof performance from the Crusaders. The Rebels, I thought, despite the scoreline, really hung in there for a long time. Carter Gordon was really, again, just like an energy bunny, going around, making tackles, really trying to get his team, lift his team, really try to get his team, motivate his team, trying to get the team back into the game. But yeah, it wasn't to be. I thought the Rebels had an opportunity before halftime, kicking for 3 points. They opted to go for the line out. They didn't score, got a little bit impatient, but I still commend the effort for the Rebels for doing that and not just saying, "Oh my God, let's take 3 points and go home with 3 points on the scoreboard." And despite that wasn't the case, I thought they did make the right decision to back themselves in there. But in the end, the physicality from the Crusaders was just too much. And towards late in the second half, the fatigue really kicked in, and the Crusaders kind of ran away with the game. And I think Crusaders really started to find the right combinations in their setup as well. The Rehana was a 10. I always felt his performance in the first game, starting performance in the first game against the Chiefs, was quite good. And it's really good to see that he get another another shot for the Crusaders in the starting jersey. His goal kicking is still like really bad. But other than that, I thought he was, everything else, I thought it was, much better than Hohepa in terms of his general play around the field. And, having Scotty Barrett back is always a big one. I think having Leo Willie at number 8 really opens up the Crusaders with a lot of their attacking options as well. And in the fullback position, Johnny McNichol seems to be the go-to man for the Crusaders, really covering a lot. Like, there was so many times where Johnny McNichol was able to create something out of nothing following a Rebels kick. And really impressive from Johnny McNichol, and that's probably going to be the go-to guy for the Crusaders in the number 15 jersey from now going forward. One Welshman replacing another. You know, it was supposed to be Lee Halfpenny, but I think Johnny McNichol is doing such a sublime job. I don't think Lee Halfpenny, even if he comes back today, will be getting a spot in that number 15 jersey. Yeah. So with that being said, I would just like to point out before we go to the match stats, Reihana, this kid, he looks like Daniel Carter and Sonny Bill Williams had a child, doesn't he? Is it just me, or he looks like Dan Carter and Sonny Bill Williams somehow had a kid together? Right, like the dimples look very Carter-ish, but you know, he has that Sonny Bill Williams. You know, look. I don't know. Someone tell me if there's some connection between these players, but I was just like, wow, this guy really looks like two great All Blacks of the past. But anyway, let's get on with the match stats. Like I said, the Crusaders really put on a clinical performance this one. Very few mistakes all around the parks. 6 tries to nil. Is that right? 6 tries to nil. 547 run meters to the Melbourne Rebels. 192. 34 defenders beaten. 17 turnovers conceded against 17 against the Rebels. Like I said, the Rebels was hanging in there for a very, very long time. They were under the pumps. And it was looking like they could have turned it around. But the Crusaders just using a brute force physicality. Not letting up any of that from the Rebels. Like I said, this is pretty much like as good as you can get in terms of performance. 95 tackles made, only 3 missed tackles for the Crusaders. Like, a test team would dream and cream themselves if they had 3 missed tackles out of a test match, right? It's absolutely incredible how good this performance was from the Crusaders. 34 missed tackles from the Melbourne Rebels, 129 tackles made in total. That is a bit on the high end. Kicks in play, 21 for the Crusaders, 18 for the Melbourne Rebels. Conversions, not great. 3 lost out of 6 conversions. All 3 were pretty much from the sideline. Reihana did get himself a bit much better in the second half once the team started to rolling into those tries. But here, the big difference between the two sides is a set piece. 15 lineouts, perfect for the Crusaders. 7 lineouts for the Rebels. 3 lost, and all 3 were stolen by Scotty Barrett. And then the scrummaging, 9 for the Crusaders. 4 scrum lost to the Melbourne Rebels, and this does include scrum lost against Tupou as well in the second half. And yeah, I mean 6 scrums won. That is absolutely brutal. Penalty count, only 3 penalties conceded for the Crusaders and the Melbourne Rebels. 12 penalties. And I think there was 6 scrum penalties, 6 or maybe 7, I think, at the end, scrum penalties against the Melbourne Rebels. So if you're taking those out, the actual discipline from the Rebels was not that bad. It was just the overwhelming dominance of scrummaging, forcing those penalties, getting the Rebels in a lot of trouble. And man, this was just really top-notch performance from the Crusaders. Something that I think a lot of Crusaders fans will be very happy to see coming into the spot, because this means the Crusaders still have a chance to run for the top 8 and into the finals. Yeah, so let's have a recap of this game. Like right away, there was like the scrum penalty to the Crusaders, and Johnny McNichol got the ball in the back line and kicked the ball away, and the referee said advantage over. Again, this is just stupid. This is a stupid idea from Justin Marshall, and what that means is that teams simply just, if you don't let them play a penalty advantage, and if you kick the ball away, the penalty advantage is over in the first phase, then this happened a couple times in this game as well. Then what that means is that teams simply just not going to play the penalty advantage at all. They're just going to pull the ball down and say, well, we'll go for the line out. And is that really what you want to see? The teams not really want to run the ball after getting a penalty advantage? Because because it will be a disadvantage for them to play the penalty advantage. So it'll be better for them to just put the ball down. Just silly. And again, this was not communicated to the players before the game. this, rule change, this change in interpretation of how a penalty advantage is to be played, never told anyone. And the Crusaders just like, well, we lost an opportunity to potentially go for a set piece, something that they've, clearly was very dominant at as well in this game. So that's just so stupid. And the referee have no spine, just any sort of pundit say anything, they're just going to bend over and do it. Like, it's just, like, this is just the Marshall's idea, kicking the ball away, immediately penalty advantage over. Just unbelievable. Yeah, we'll see how this is going to translate into Test Rugby, and we'll see how this is going to translate into how teams are going to adapt to it. But, I mean, it's just brutally unfair. You didn't tell the team that this was going to be the case, and then they kicked the ball away. You're like, 10 penalty advantage over, and everyone's just looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on? When did this law get changed? But yeah, it's just the Marshall's stupid idea. You guys can decide whether or not that is good for the game. I mean, the thing is, Crusaders just didn't kick the ball away anymore after getting a penalty advantage, right? Just stupid. Anyway, 9 minutes into the game, Crusaders got themselves in the front foot, just building pressure. There was some good hands from Leo Willie to save a Reese down the sideline, and the Reese, as brilliant as he's always been for the entire season for the Crusaders, inside ball back in field as he's about to get pushed out. Leo Willie got it. Try time, 5 points to 0. Ball hit the post, no conversion. 16 minutes into the game, there was a line out for the Crusaders, and then they just built pressure, pick and go, pick and go, pick and go, and eventually the ball went out to the back line. There was wide open space, acres open space out wide, crossfield kick, and it was Colin Grace. The flanker was out on the wing. Try time, 10 points to 0 for the Crusaders. The 30 minutes into the game, the scrum was just absolutely getting brutalized from the Melbourne Rebels. Penalties everywhere. And the Rebels finally was looking like they're potentially going to concede a penalty try to having the players sent off. Finally, the coaches decided to pull the ripcord, put on the fresh front rowers, including Tenela Tupou, 30 minutes into the first half. Yeah, and he did. Once Tupou came on, the scrum was stabilized, and they weren't, literally salvaging that potential penalty try that was, right in front of the goalpost. 37 minutes into the game, the Rebels had to finally get an opportunity inside the Crusaders half, getting a penalty. This was a kickable one. They went for the lineouts. They didn't go for 3. I really thought they'd made the right decision here because they're only 15 points down. They can still hang in there and chase the game down. And they went for it. Probably got a little bit impatient. I mean, the overwhelming pressure from the Crusaders. They tried to crash the ball over. Cameley got the ball. He looked like he tried to jump over the defensive line. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. You can't jump over the defensive line. But he got hit in the air anyway and tackled it anyway. And then he knocked on the ball as he's trying to reach it over the try line. So no try there. Got a little bit impatient. Halftime score, 15 points to 0. 10 points to 0 for the Crusaders. So it wasn't that bad at all for the Rebels at halftime. Like 10-0. It's not out of the reach at all. Second half starts early in the second half. The scrum is definitely turning around for the Rebels, it looks like. And they were able to get some better feeds and getting some penalties for themselves as well early in the second half. 44 minutes into the game, like I said, Johnny McNichol just got the ball out wide and made a nice little step, ran a nice angle, broken through the defensive line, got himself into the Rebels 22, and then the ball just came out, spread out wide. Again, Leo Willie was right out the sideline, got the ball, and then crashed through, reached over, try time. And yeah, it was really just, just Johnny McNichol's individual brilliance opening up the defense for the Crusaders. 17 points to 0. 15 points to 0. This one, another missed conversion. 49 minutes into the game, another penalty to the another scrum penalty to the Crusaders. Like I said, it looked like the Rebels are stabilized, but George Bell starting to adjust, starting to learn how Tupou likes to play, how likes to set up, and was able to get under Tupou. Penalty to the Crusaders. Destroy the scrum again. 18 points to 0. They kicked 3 points here. 59 minutes into the game. This was just when stupidity started to kick in for the Melbourne Rebels. They had a scrum and they got a short arm out of the scrum. it was shaky. Like, George Bell literally just got a scrum penalty not that long ago against you. The Rebels, instead of just taking a quick tab or just put up a high ball, whatever, any other option, decided to go for another scrum. And sure enough, scrum penalty, turnover. And the Crusaders followed this up with a line out. And that went into another scrum penalty. Sorry, that went into another penalty, and then they went for another line out. And this time, the Crusaders put on the fresh legs. Owen Franks and Joe Moody came on, and they went for the scrum. They went for the line out. Owen Franks got the ball, scored his first try since 2010. 14 years, man. Holy moly, that's been a long time. But man, Owen Franks is really good to see him back. I have no doubt all the younger players around him, like Fletcher Newell and Fletcher Newell, George Bow, and what's his name, Joe Moody. I have no doubt that all of these guys are getting, and also the injured Tamati Williams. I have no doubt all of these guys are getting benefit of the experience that Owen Franks is bringing into the team. And 62 minutes, and then so that was the try from Owen Franks, 25 points to 0. 71 minutes into the game. Immediately after this, Connor Gordon kicked the ball out on the full. 71 minutes into the game, Crusaders had another line out inside the Melbourne 22. Crash ball, just short ball, pick and go. And the Several Reese got to the breakdown. There was a line out, right? There was a line out, and then it was looking like they were going to set up Several Reese for a crash ball in the 10 channel. And the forward just like ran the ball himself. And then Several Reese followed up with a pick and go. Try time, 32 points to 0 to the Crusaders. And finally, 78 minutes into the game, Crusaders scrum, nice solid platform set. The ball went to the backs, and there was a nice little backdoor ball to Finaki. Ran through this nice angle, cut the Melbourne Rebels defense straight open. He got tackled just before the try line, popping the ball back up. Johnny McNichol was right there waiting for the pop-up. Ran in for the try. 78 minutes, and that was the final try. 39 points to 0. The Crusaders, like, they really ran away with the ball in the last 20 minutes or so. But the Rebels was really in the game, all the way till 59 minutes when they did that stupid scrum. After getting a short on penalty, that's probably when everything went downhill for the Rebels. Really started to fall out of their control for the Rebels. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys a bit later for the Waratahs versus Chiefs game. Cheers.